In the silent reaches of the universe, beyond the reach of most known galaxies, there thrived a civilization that believed itself to be the crown jewel of creation, the Zorian. For over 100,000 cycles, the Zorian had evolved from organic life into a species of extraordinary intellect and precision. Their cities floated effortlessly above the surfaces of moons, embedded within hollowed-out planets and spun in elegant orbits around artificial suns. The Zorian had conquered disease, eliminated internal conflict, and reshaped entire star systems to suit their needs. Their technology was so advanced that it could manipulate gravity, decode genetic sequences in seconds, and create matter from pure energy. From their perspective, they were not just advanced, they were perfection refined over eons, the final product of evolutionary destiny. This belief was not merely cultural, it was built into the very fabric of their society. Every Zorian was taught from birth that their species had surpassed the need for emotion-driven behavior, instinctive survival, or moral doubt. They operated on pure logic, guided by a ruling caste of philosopher-scientists who had merged their consciousness with powerful quantum minds, forming a governing intelligence known simply as the synaptic core. Their superiority complex was not rooted in arrogance alone, but in the evidence of countless expeditions. The Zorian had studied thousands of alien worlds, cataloging primitive species still battling environmental collapse, territorial wars, or spiritual confusion. They saw chaos where they had long established order, emotion where they had achieved control, and instinct where they had perfected thought. Not once had they encountered a civilization that matched their level of sophistication. To the Zorian, all other species were anomalies. Interesting, perhaps, but ultimately inferior. These beliefs formed the foundation of their cultural identity. They did not seek to dominate or destroy other life forms, but rather to observe, classify, and sometimes guide from afar with the detached fascination of a scientist watching a petri dish. Every mission into deep space was less a journey of curiosity and more an act of confirmation that they were indeed the apex of existence. Over time, this certainty calcified into dogma. The Zorian viewed themselves not merely as explorers, but as galactic arbiters of knowledge, keepers of universal truth. They believed that any meaningful discovery had already been made by them, and that anything new was simply a variation of what they already understood. The idea that a lesser world might hold something beyond their grasp was not just improbable, it was laughable. It was within this mindset, deeply woven into the psyche of their people, that the crew of the Stellar Voyager embarked on what they believed would be another routine survey mission. With minds unshaken and eyes unblinking, they charted a course for the stars, never imagining that their next encounter would challenge everything they thought they knew about evolution, civilization, and the very nature of superiority. The Stellar Voyager, one of the finest vessels in the Zorian exploration fleet, was a marvel of interstellar engineering, a sleek, silver construct powered by antimatter cores and capable of bending space-time to traverse galaxies in moments. Its mission was nothing extraordinary by Zorian standards, a routine survey of several uncharted planetary systems in a distant spiral arm of the Milky Way. Missions like this were commonplace, designed not out of hope for discovery, but out of a need to maintain the Zorians' exhaustive database of the cosmos. The crew aboard the Stellar Voyager, composed of elite scientists, technicians, and artificial intelligence nodes, treated the journey with clinical detachment. Each had performed dozens of such missions, meticulously collecting atmospheric readings, geological samples, and biosignatures, only to report the same conclusion time and again. Primitive worlds, undeveloped species, and nothing that could challenge Zorian knowledge or relevance. Earth was scheduled as the third stop in a long list of planets to be catalogued. When its blue and green hues first appeared on the ship's monitors, the crew's interest barely flickered. To their eyes, it looked like countless other life-bearing planets, breathable atmosphere, liquid water, dynamic weather systems. There was no sign of hypertechnology, no planetary defense grids, no megastructures orbiting the planet, nothing to suggest that Earth was home to an advanced civilization. Captain Zelmer, a seasoned explorer with a reputation for unwavering logic, regarded the planet with mild boredom. Another standard biosphere, he noted, voice devoid of emotion. Lieutenant Vera, the vessel's chief scientist, confirmed the preliminary scans. Carbon-based life, moderate technological activity, if any, low threat level, low interest value, she concluded, already preparing for the ship to move on to the next target. The crew proceeded with automated scans and surface sweeps, collecting data for later archival without setting foot on the planet. To them, Earth was a blip, a minor statistical entry in the grand catalogue of the universe. It was routine, ordinary, insignificant. And yet, as the stellar Voyager prepared to leave the system, a subtle anomaly in the data, a strange variation in human cultural patterns, a unique depth in biological and emotional complexity began to surface. It was slight, almost negligible, and most of the crew dismissed it as an outlier. But a few curious eyes lingered on the screens just a moment longer. For now, Earth remained another anonymous entry in the Zorian archives. But the seeds of curiosity had been planted, unknowingly marking the beginning of a journey that would lead the crew far beyond the limits of their expectations, and perhaps beyond the limits of their understanding. As the stellar Voyager's orbit stabilized above Earth, the crew's sophisticated sensor arrays completed their sweep, returning volumes of data in moments. Atmospheric composition, electromagnetic emissions, population distribution, and indicators of biological life. From the perspective of the Zorian crew, the readings were underwhelming. Earth's technological footprint, while present, seemed rudimentary compared to the Zorian standard. Fossil fuel dependence, fragmented digital networks, and evidence of global conflict and environmental degradation. There were signs of intelligent life, yes, but to the Zorian, a race that had long surpassed organic emotion and social division, human civilization appeared chaotic, self-destructive, and far behind on the evolutionary curve. Captain Zelmer, scanning the reports with cool indifference, leaned back in his command seat. An immature species clinging to a fragile biosphere, he concluded, his voice devoid of awe or interest. Lieutenant Vera nodded in agreement, noting that while the humans had achieved spaceflight, they had barely left the orbit of their own moon. They are confined, reactive, and illogical, she said flatly. This planet poses no threat, nor does it offer insight. The rest of the crew echoed this sentiment with the cold efficiency of their kind. Earth was, in their eyes, a case study in evolutionary mediocrity, a species burdened by emotion, history, and division, lacking the unity or technology to ascend to what the Zorian considered true intelligence. The planet's abundant biodiversity was noted, but deemed unremarkable. Its art, music, and literature, caught in fragmented radio signals, were registered by the ship's archives, but quickly categorized as erratic, sentimental noise. Even the planet's climate instability and geopolitical divisions were viewed not as signs of complexity, but of dysfunction. The initial consensus among the crew was unanimous. Earth was a dead end, a footnote in the annals of the cosmos, not worthy of further study. They prepared to leave, marking the planet as low significance in the survey logs, a routine entry to be stored and forgotten. And so, in a matter of hours, Earth had been judged and dismissed by a civilization so advanced it no longer recognized the potential of imperfection.